speaker is Abraar Karan at Yale College and a Unite for Sight entrepreneurial volunteer in Chennai, India. Great. Tell us what's happening there.
Hi, so my name is Abraar Karan. I was a volunteer this past summer in Chennai, India. And so I guess this term entrepreneurial volunteer, Jennifer decided to assign it on me because I did a research study this summer in India on the use of visual aids for informed consent and whether that would improve comprehension in a vulnerable population. And so the findings of my research study were positive and that visual aids did improve understanding in this population. But just speaking more broadly, I think that while research is one example for students to be entrepreneurial, there are really many ways that I see the volunteers of today to really take it to the next level. And what I mean by this is, when I first came to Yale, I was really sure what I wanted to do or what I wanted to study. And I went to one of the Unite for Sight sessions, and Jennifer was telling us about what this great organization does. But it wasn't really until I reached Chennai and gained that exposure to what's going on that I really started thinking, like kind of more out of the box. And I think that's really the key to being an entrepreneurial volunteer. There have been several volunteers who come to Unite for Sight. They've gone through the camps as I did. And while I did a research study, they've done much more than that. There have been several volunteers who've gone on to start their own programs. And that really, to me, is what an entrepreneurial volunteer does. It's really gaining exposure to these problems, and then with this exposure, really thinking about how you want to tackle problems. As a student, we're in these great universities. We have ample resources to really take initiatives and approach problems in new ways. And it's really these students that I feel are the true entrepreneurs today.
So tell us what the biggest surprise was when you were running to Chennai. What was your, oh my God, that's not what I expected?
Well, it definitely has to be just, the way that people are living in these villages. It's one thing to hear about it in talks, even to see pictures of it, but it's really different when you actually are in the villages. I did a small photojournalism project while I was there called Project Do Your Eyes, in which I interviewed 5 villagers over the course of 2 months. During the camp, I would just sit with them and talk to them really about what life was like being a poor villager in South India, living with cataracts. Because I felt like as a volunteer, I'd be seeing maybe 200 or 300 villagers, but I wouldn't really get to understand what it means to be a villager living there. So it was very interesting to talk to these villagers and really get a sense of what their life entails. I met villagers from seaside villages. I learned all about what it's like to be a fisherman in Chennai, going out at 3 a.m. in the morning to get fish. It's something I never knew they did. I learned what kind of hardships they deal with. There's a man offered free surgery, but he's living hand to mouth, and his main concern was, I can't leave for 1 day to get a surgery because there won't be food on the table for my kids. And to just hear that from his mouth, it's really like you start thinking about the realities of what people are living like, and it just makes you more appreciative of the life you live here, but also it motivates you to really want to think out of the box, the way Jennifer Staple did, the way other students are doing today, and really make a difference.
Thank you very much.
Excellent panel, and thank you, Jeff, for moderating it. I've learned a very important lesson from Abraar Karan today, and that is he knew all about what was being said. He knew it in theory, but only when he went to Chennai, he found out the greatest entrepreneur was the people he was trying to help. That reminds me, for the benefit of all the young entrepreneurs here, Paulo Freire, the famous Brazilian educator, who said, please do not think that others have an empty bank account. There is plenty of knowledge and experience to learn. And when you go to a new place, remember that. Listen and learn before you plonk your ideas and your theories on them. This is a very important lesson in global health. I had learned it 38 years ago. I've learned it today from Abraar, and I continue to learn. Thank you.